All right, so you might be thinking we're about to learn how to code a video game. But actually, we're going to go one level deeper. We're going to reverse engineer what makes a great educational script tick. We're not just looking at what's being taught. We're going to dissect the how, the secret recipe for making learning feel, well, not like learning at all.
I mean, this is the ultimate question, right? It's kind of the holy grail for any teacher, parent, or, anyone trying to create something educational. How do you take something complicated and package it so that a kid doesn't just sit through it, but actually wants to do it? How do you make learning feel like playing a game?
Well, we think we found the answer, or at least a big part of it. And we're going to find it by putting one specific example right under the microscope. We're looking at the script for a YouTube tutorial called Coding a Scratch Multiplayer Snowball Fight Battle. And trust me, it's a total masterclass in disguise. So, to really get what makes this thing so brilliant, we're going to break it down into 5 key pieces. First, we'll look at the anatomy of engagement. Then, how they engineer the perfect hook. After that, we'll see how they make complex code simple, how they drive fun and replayability, and finally, how they turn viewers into a real community.
Okay, let's dive into that first part, the anatomy of engagement. Because here's the thing, before a single block of code even shows up on screen, this script is already hard at work, making the whole experience feel, well, completely irresistible. So the script we're looking at comes from a channel called sparkquarkkids, and this part is absolutely crucial. It's designed for kids between 6 and 12 years old. We're talking about an age group where you don't have minutes to get their attention, you have seconds. If you don't hook them fast, they are gone.
So how do you win over an audience like that? Well, the script pulls out its first secret weapon, the hook. In a world with a million distractions just a click away, you have to grab them right from the start. So let's see how this tutorial does it. Just listen to this opening line. It's not some polite, hello everyone. It's just this burst of pure energy. Think about it. A typical welcome to my class tells your brain, okay, time to sit back and listen. But this immediately screams action and fun. Words like splat, dodge, frenzy, they don't even talk to the logical part of a kid's brain. They go straight to the part that just wants to play. So yeah, let's really break that hook down. The tone isn't your calm, quiet teacher. It's like a high-energy battle cry, right? It gets you excited immediately. The language is all about action. You can almost hear and feel words like splat. Then it makes this instant promise of fun, multiplayer-style battle, which totally taps into that desire to play with friends. And maybe the most important part, it ends with a super clear, super simple call to action. No confusion, just go here, do this, and the fun begins. Okay, so they've hooked the kids. Awesome. But now comes the really tricky part, right? How do you teach these abstract coding ideas? Things like variables, clones, hit detection, without, making their eyes completely glaze over? Well, the script's secret weapon for this is a teaching technique called scaffolding. And the idea is actually really simple, but it's so powerful. You don't just show a kid a picture of a giant Lego castle and hand them a huge pile of bricks. No way. You guide them, showing them how to build one small wall at a time. That way, every single step feels like a win. And you can see that scaffolding perfectly in action right here. They don't call it a list of tasks. No, it's the 5-step coding avalanche. You start with a really simple win, just making your character throw a snowball. Then you add an enemy. Then you make the hits actually count. See how that works? Each layer just builds right on top of the last one, turning this big, complex project into a bunch of small, super satisfying wins. And check this out. This is how the script explains the technical why behind the code. Instead of drowning kids in a ton of jargon, about object instantiation or conditional logic, it just boils it all down to this one awesome phrase, Scratch multiplayer magic. It gives them just enough information for the logic to click, but it never, ever breaks the spell of the fun. But a good tutorial gets you to finish the project once. A great one makes you want to come back and play it over and over again. And this script, it is absolutely engineered for that replayability. It's designed to take a simple little game and turn it into a full-on battle arena. And the structure is so clever. Look, the first 3 steps, they create a totally complete, fun, single-player game. That's a perfect off-ramp for any kid who just wants a quick win. But then, steps 4 and 5 are where it levels up. They transform the whole thing into a battle arena by adding a second player, power-ups, and enemy waves. It goes from being a little project you do by yourself to a social shareable challenge you can play with your friends.
And believe me, none of this is by accident. The script is tapping into some really powerful psychological triggers. You've got social competition with friend versus friend. It uses increasing difficulty with the enemy waves, so it never gets boring. It introduces novelty with things like power-ups. And then it throws down a public challenge to get you to share your game and challenge other people online.
Which brings us to the final piece of the puzzle. And honestly, this might be the most brilliant part of the whole design. See, the tutorial doesn't just end when the coding is done. Nope. Its final mission is to turn you, the passive viewer, into an active member of their community. Listen to this shift in tone right at the end. It's not just fading out, it's issuing a challenge. It's not a polite little, "thanks for watching." It's a series of exciting commands. Comment your score, share your game, tag us, you might get a shout out. It's a direct invitation to come and join the tribe. What we're looking at here is basically a perfect community building funnel. Asking you to comment your score, that's the easy first step. Anyone can do that. Asking you to share your Scratch link, bam, you've just gone from a viewer to a creator. Tagging the channel, that creates a ton of user-generated content for them. And the shout out, well, that's the ultimate social reward that makes you feel recognized and want to come back for more. And that right there is the masterstroke. This script just completely rejects the old idea of a one-way lecture. Instead, it's designed from the very beginning to be the start of a two-way conversation. A conversation that turns people who just watch into people who actually create. So really, that's the big takeaway here. When you peel back all the layers of the snowball fight tutorial, you realize it's so much more than just a simple guide. What you're really looking at is a detailed, practical blueprint for how to make education effective, engaging, and, most important of all, actually fun. And all of this leaves us with one final big question to think about. When you see how seamlessly this model weaves together play, instant wins, and community, you have to wonder, are we looking at the future of the classroom itself, whether it's online or in the real world?